Hey everybody, I'm joined once again by Eric, and we are continuing our movie deck block deck tech. This week we have kind of Nazgul builds. So these videos are intended to be paired up with a fellowship block. So we're gonna have the video, or I'm sorry, the deck list in the video description. So feel free to grab that and kind of build this. But we have 4 different archetypes for the Nazgul culture in front of us. And I'm gonna turn over to Eric and kind of walk us through this stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Good to be back again. So today, again, kind of a similar concept where we're looking at one given culture. We're only looking at one side. Like I said, we're only looking at Shadow side and the Wraith culture, and obviously Nazgul, and what are the 4 different ways. And this is one of the things that fascinates me about Movie Block is these 4 decks that we're about to look at are all just substantially different from each other, and they're all Nazgul, and they're all playable high-level decks. So, I mean, that's what I think is really cool, is that there's that much diversity in the format. Over here on the left hand, we've got traditional Nazgul that, you know, uses some threat manipulation. In the second one here, we've got Twilight Nazgul. That one's a little more fringe, but it's a one where you're trying to basically wound / burden the Ringbearer to death. And then over here, we have Enduring Nazgul, which is a very interesting variant where you're actually trying to get wounds on your Nazgul and then heal them for special abilities. And then finally, we have Mordor Orcs, or Morgul Orcs, and Morcs, basically, which is the orcs that are in the Nazgul culture, and just recurring those and getting the bonuses off of those. So that's the 4 distinct deck types we've got here. And again, we'll just look at these all one at a time and kind of give you a little bit of a deck tech on them and get them closer up so you can see what we've got here. So this first deck is more of the traditional build where it Nazgul with threats. So the first guy you've got here is Witch King, the Morgul King, and his whole thing is remove a threat to take a Wraith card from your discard pile. So that is really nice because you just recur and match up whatever you need, including, you know, getting possessions that will match up and make your guys big and buff. So we've got a play set of those. Then this, again, along the theme of threats, you've got Ulaire Cantea, Faster Than the Winds, and he is the one who adds a threat for each companion over 4. So this really does a nice job of adding threats, and then also its effect is remove threats to discard possessions. So that's very nice as well. This is regular Ulaire Attea. Everyone's familiar with that one, just makes itself bigger. Enquea, people are familiar with that one too, typically. And then we've got a couple other, again, miscellaneous traditional Nazgul in Nelya and Toldea. We do have a little Gollum package in here with Gollum Old Villain. This one really helps cycle cards because in Nazgul, your minions are very expensive and clunky. So being able to just discard any number of cards out of your hand to pump this Gollum is a very nice ability just to help with your deck cycling. And then we've just got some Captured by the Ring action to recur that Gollum. And then this is where you can load up some stuff like on the Witch King, for example. We've got a couple Rings of Ire, a couple Rings of Asperity, and some Pale Blades. So this is where you're, and Winged Mounts. So basically this is where with Witch King, for example, you could be wearing a ring, a blade, and a mount, and really just get a huge companion, or excuse me, huge minion out there that is just really stacking a lot of abilities in terms of fierce damage +1, super high power, all of that kind of stuff. And being able to recur all these out of your discard pile is a really nice effect. So that's kind of the main purpose of this here is just, you know, you keep presenting, you know, high powered Nazgul, ones that are loaded up with various possessions and whatnot. And last couple just support cards is just out of sight and shot and fear. But yeah, that's pretty traditional Nazgul build, even though it's movie block. It's, you know, mostly just the standard fighting beatdown style.
So Eric, I'm curious, does this pair well with a certain fellowship culture, do you think? Does one kind of come to mind?
I don't know if any in particular, but I would say Nazgul in general, you want to pair with a fellowship that cycles well, because oftentimes Nazgul don't cycle all that well. Like I said, although this one mitigates that with this Gollum, this is huge just to pitch your cards. And then the winged mounts too also help with cycling, because those are discard 2 cards to play it. But yeah, that'd be the biggest thing I'd say when you're playing Nazgul, is make sure that you're pairing with a fellowship side that does cycle well, because in general Nazgul are bad at cycling.
Makes sense.
Then the next one here, like I said, this one is definitely a unique build. And if you're ever up against an alternate Ringbearer, this is just going to, you know, take the day. But overall, it might be, you know, kind of more on the tier 2 side as far as against main decks, like a Frodo that can take up to, you know, 12 burdens or whatever. So the effect here of this Witch King, Lord of the Nazgul, is that each time he wins a skirmish, you may exert him to wound the Ringbearer twice. So you can just see basically the point here is we're just trying to just aggressively get wounds onto the Ringbearer. So this guy wins a skirmish, Ringbearer gets wounded twice. So one of the effects you're going to be doing is trying to make this guy fierce so that he can win 2 skirmishes and basically wound the Ringbearer 4 times just in 1 appearance. So that's, you know, that's huge, obviously. So there's 4 of those. Then we have 4 Ulaire Enquea Ring Wraith in Twilight. So this is an Enquea that most people are never used to seeing, because you see the other ubiquitous shotgun Enquea all the time. This one, again, says when he wins a skirmish, exert him to wound the Ringbearer once or twice if you spot 5 burdens. So it's kind of just, again, smaller version of that Witch King effect, which is try to make him fierce and get wounds on the Ringbearer. And then this is just a solid Twilight Nazgul. He's just Ulaire Nelya, and it's just statistically good. It's fierce damage +1 as long as you get 2 burdens. And obviously 2 burdens is pretty easy to get in a deck like this. So in terms of getting burdens on the Ringbearer, we do have our Morgul Brutes. This is the one that says spot a Nazgul to add a burden. And the only way that the Free People's player can prevent this is by wounding the Ringbearer. So they've got to either take a burden or a wound. So you're happy with either result of that. So you've got 4 of those. And then this is the Gollum we play in this deck. It's Gollum Darkest Darkness from Reflections. This is the one that, again, exert him twice to exert the Ringbearer in the shadow phase, or exert him twice in the regroup phase to wound the Ringbearer. So as you can see here, just every single card we've looked at so far is putting wound on the Ringbearer. So this is a deck where the Ringbearer is going to get exhausted really quickly, and they're going to start taking burdens because they can't take any more wounds. And this is just for Gollum recurrences, similar to Captured by the Ring. And then this is our main method for making our Nazgul fierce, is the Fell Beast. So like I said, making the Witch King and Ulaire Enquea fierce using a Fell Beast is really the way to go, because then they get their these 2 guys can get their skirmish action in twice instead of just once. So we've got a play set of the Fell Beast in there. This is a unique card for Twilight Nazgul, which is just a condition that allows you to remove 1 to prevent wounds. So kind of a unique card just to help keep them alive / help make sure that they have vitality to be able to exert themselves to wound the Ringbearer. And then this is, again, you're going to see some strange cards in this. This one is exert a Twilight Nazgul to exert the Ringbearer. So again, it's just a 1-cost event, and if you can spot a Twilight Nazgul, you just get an extra exertion on the Ringbearer. And then if the Ringbearer is exhausted, it forces him to put on the 1 ring. So that is huge. Again, just more exertions on the Ringbearer, and as you can tell, as many times as we're doing that, those are just turning into burdens. And then lastly, this is kind of the finisher, which is spot, and again, you think about situational, but the deck is all designed to make this situation happen. Spot a Twilight Nazgul and the Ringbearer wearing the 1 ring. It's like, well, when would that happen? Well, this deck is when it would happen. And the effect is add 3 burdens. So that's kind of ridiculous. Once you get the Ringbearer exhausted, though, you just throw these down and just get, you know, massive amounts of burdens to finish off and corrupt the Ringbearer. So like I said, Frodo's are strongest against this, but if you're playing anyone with an alternate Ringbearer, they're just not going to be able to withstand this amount of wounds and burdens. So that's kind of the interesting variant there. Now, moving on to the third one here, we've got the Enduring Nazgul. So Enduring is when you take a wound, you get an additional 2 power for every wound on them. But the really weird thing with this deck is it's all based around healing. And so this first card here, Ulaire Enquea, the Thrall of One, again, a different Enquea, but he's really your key one because it says, if he's skirmishing, heal him to add a burden. So in theory, if you could get this guy exhausted, you can add 3 burdens by heal, 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 because he's got the 4 vitality. So that's a really interesting thing with this enduring deck. So you've got a play set of those. Then the next guy here is Cantea, the Thrall of One, and his effect is that you can heal him to discard a possession borne by a character he's skirmishing. So again, nice effect, but really Enquea is going to be your biggest thing that you're going for here. Then we talked about this before. This is another one of those cards that look very similar, but this one is Ulaire Nelya, and this one is just heal him to add a Twilight. But again, you're getting your enduring Nazgul is the point. These all have the keyword enduring.
You know, it's funny, all these similar Nazgul, like they really were trying to find different cards, right? Like they're trying really hard.
Yeah, this one's not a great shot, but it's at least different looking. And again, you kind of just got one left of the different guys, just so again, you're playing each different enduring Nazgul. You've got Attea here and Lamenya here. This again is a staple Nazgul card, which just is if you're about to take a wound, prevent the wound. So just a 0 cost wound prevention, all blades perish. This is really, though, your key of the deck, which is exert an enduring minion twice to assign that minion to an unbound companion. So this is a very costly event, but just kind of visualize this with me in terms of what you would do here is you'd have Ulaire Enquea, who is an enduring Nazgul, and you'd play this card to, in the assignment phase, to exert him twice. So that gets 2 wounds onto him. And then basically not only that, you get to go clean up any unbound companion. So if someone is exhausted and you can take them out for a kill, or if it's a very low powered character that you can overwhelm, this just lets you choose this shadow assignment. So it's a huge effect because you get to assign your big minion, not the Free People's player, you get to assign it, and you get to wound yourself, which is usually not good, but it's really good with this like Enquea because every wound you take is going to be a burden for your opponent. So that's the big combo here. So we've got a full play set of those between Nazgul and Prey. And then we got some other just tech ways to wound our Nazgul, because a lot of these Nazgul will say, like Enquea there, shadow cards cannot exert him during a skirmish phase, or Cantea, shadow cards cannot exert him during a skirmish phase. Well, you can exert them in other phases that's not the skirmish phase. So like this card here, Bent on Discovery, says at the beginning of each of your shadow phases, draw a card. So that's just awesome to get you more card cycling. But then it also says at the end of each of your shadow phases, exert a Nazgul or discard this condition. So again, what's supposed to be a downside of forcing you to exert a Nazgul is actually positive for you because you want to exert your Nazgul. So we've got a full set of those. And then this one here just says each time a card adds a burden, the Free People's player must exert a companion. So again, we're just getting tons of exertion with the burdens that we're placing on people. And similar Out of Sight and Shot for recursion and Ithel Stone for more card draw. So this is really kind of more, again, of a combo type deck where you're trying to combo the enduring minions with cards that put exertions on them, with then cards that take advantage of those healing those wounds. So that is the enduring Nazgul.
So I'm curious, does this pair well with anything, or just once again sort of something that cycles well?
Yeah, again, I just say something that cycles well, because again, that one in particular is also very clunky. So anything that cycles well is going to be your key. I'd say with any of the first 3 decks that we just look at, you need to have something that cycles well. This third one actually cycles well on its own because it's going to be focused more on low cost minions. But those first 3 that are all just big clunky Nazgul, really you want to pair with something that cycles well. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to have too many Nazgul in your hand that you can't play, and then it's just going to stop you from getting through your deck like you need to.
Makes sense. All right, our final deck here.
But yeah, the final one is obviously the Wraith Culture, but this is more focused on the orcs. So it's Morgul Brute, who we just saw in the last deck. Again, this is a staple splash card in a lot of decks just because it has this effect of, when you play it, you either get a burden or a wound on the Ringbearer. And again, either of those is going to be good for you. So you've got the Brutes. Then the other guy you've got is the Destroyer. And this guy is a similar concept. This guy, you either get 2 threats or a wound on the Ringbearer. So either one of those is going to be highly beneficial. And then we've got Morgul Whelps, which these are just a beast, because if you spot a wound on the Ringbearer, which you will with those other guys, strength +6. So these are 9 power for 1 Twilight. So you're just really going to be dominating with those. And then Morgul Squealer is just going to be, again, helping you recur those other orcs. So you can see so far we're just all orcs, all cheap cards. Bill Ferny, most people are familiar with that. That's where you can assign him to a Free People's Companion of your choice, just another great small minion. And then these guys do need to spot Nazgul to be able to work. You'll see the Morgul Brute and Morgul Destroyer. Both of them have the requirement of spot a Nazgul to get those bonuses. You can still play them without a Nazgul, but to get the bonuses, you have to be able to spot a Nazgul. So we're going to have cheap Nazgul that synergize well with orcs. The biggest one is this Ulaire Nelya, who basically has, if you can spot 3 Wraith minions, he's fierce. If you can spot 4, he's damage +1, and he's strength +1 for each other minion you can spot. So this is great when you get a swarm of the small orcs down and you just put this guy down. He's high power, fierce, damage +1, which is kind of the 3 things you always want to combine is a high-powered minion who's fierce, who's damage +1. That's kind of the holy grail of minions in the Lord of the Rings games. So so this, you're going to be looking for him a lot. And then we've got Cantea. Again here, that's the one we were looking at in the previous deck. The rest of these guys, again, are just cheap Nazgul. They're not specifically synergizing other than just getting you cheap Nazgul down to combo with your orcs. So we've got Attea Thrall of 1, Nertea Thrall of 1, and then we do have a couple, or 1 Shotgun Enquea in there. And then the same Gollum you just saw in the last one, because this does synergize well with when we're trying to wound the Ringbearer, like the Morgul Brute and the Morgul Destroyer. This combos well with that. So you've got the same captured by the ring synergy with Gollum Darkest Darkness. And then this is a special effect that's just for the orcs, which is you get to stack them and recur them. So it says when you play a minion stacked here, you exert a companion, which is a nice bonus. But also, if no minion is stacked here, you can spot your minion to stack it here. And, if you spot 2, you can play this one. So this, again, long and short of it is it just helps you recur your your Mordor orcs. So this is a really nice nice card for that reason. So this will help you get your recurrences, and this will recur your Nazgul. So that one definitely plays differently than all the others, where you're really looking to swarm down with a lot of orcs and just puts a lot of pressure on your opponent.
Out of curiosity, do you have a favorite of the 4?
I actually like that last one the most. I'm not a big Nazgul player, so I really like the one that is, I'd say, the less traditional version of Nazgul, where you're really just trying to, do the fun things with the smaller orcs. That's more of my play style overall. Yeah,
makes sense. I mean, all those look pretty fun. I think I would also gravitate towards the last one there. Well, Eric, thanks so much for doing this. If folks have comments, questions, let us know. We're going to do the rest of the cultures here, so don't worry. Everyone's getting a little bit of love. It's just going to take a few weeks to get everything together. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see everybody next time.
Sounds good.